Hi, I'm Amanda and I'm from Upcycled Glassware, and I wanted to demonstrate how to use our Upcycled Glassware Sprouter. Today, to do the demonstration, we're going to have the Upcycled Glassware Sprouter, about 2 tablespoons of sprouting seeds. In my sink, I've got a little bucket just to have some water, to retain the water, and I've got to the side a container for these when the seeds come to their storing stage, and some kitchen paper. Okay, so before we start sprouting our seeds, what we really need to do is wash the hands. I've already pre-washed my hands, so while you're off washing your hands, I'm going to talk to you about the sprouter. Our sprouter is made by upcycling a glass jar, and this is our jumbo. Then on top we have the sprouter top and the sprouter grid. So when you get these, they might be pre-assembled or they might come loose. Either which way, assembly's not hard. We just pop the grid into the sprouter top and voila. But before, just like our hands, the sprouter, the tumbler and the sprouter top need to be washed thoroughly. So the sprouter, the tumbler, the jumbo tumbler, that can go into your dishwasher, just like a normal glass. The sprouter top does not go in the dishwasher. It needs a really good thorough scrubbing with a nice coarse scrubber. So, and your standard dishwashing liquid. So make sure you give those a really good scrub. Now, if you've got time, you can just allow them to dry. My one's dry because it's already pre-washed. And you can do this just on the sink with your tea towel, or you can actually take it out into the sun and give it a good sun soak, good sun drying off. Okay, let's start sprouting. So we take these are azuki beans. We take these 2 tablespoons of azuki beans and we pop them into our sprouter. I'm going to leave just a few in the bottom of the jar. I know that there's a little bit more than 2 tablespoons there. And then we take our sprouter top and pop it on. Now our sprouter top can stay on for the duration of the experience. So we have in here our 2 tablespoons of azuki beans inside of the giant tumbler. The sprouter top is on and the grid is intact. Now it's time to rinse. If you think of our azuki beans, these are just like the vegetables you buy from the fruit and veggie store or your supermarket. When you take them home, you generally give them a bit of a rinse and the seeds are the same. We want to make sure that all the toxins or any atmospheric germs, they just come off. So let's start. I am lucky enough to have a filtered tap. So this tap for me distributes some filtered water. If you don't have any filtered water, that's fine. You can use your tap water. When it comes to the soaking cycle, we really want to try and use a filtered water because the seeds will absorb any toxins that are inside of your water. But you know, if you're happy to drink your tap water, soak your seeds in it, that's fine. Okay, so here we go. Oh, we pop some water through the grid. You can see it's just going straight through the grid. I've got hold of the jumbo tumbler, not just the top. If I was to hold just the top, we'd have a little mishap on our hands. Okay, so it's about 1/3 of the way. That's 2 tablespoons and then some water, and then we grab a hold of the tumbler and the sprouter top and give it a bit of a swirl. You can see the seeds are gyrating around in there. Okay, and then we just turn it upside down and let them drain out. As I said before, I've got my bucket and that's going to retain the water. We need to do this rinsing and soaking 2 more times, so 3 times in total. So here we go for the second one. Give it a nice swirl and drain. I can see that the water that's coming off these azuki beans is nice and clean and clear. I'm not seeing too many toxins. This is the last little one, so I make sure I give it a really good swirl around and then just drain them away. Fabulous. All right, now it's time for the soaking part. So now we're going to just turn the water on. This is the part that if you haven't had any filtered water to date, or at this point, you can try and use a filtered water. And there we go. We've got our 2 tablespoons of azuki beans for us, and then we've got about 1/3 of water, and we're just going to allow that to sit. Okay, the azuki beans are quite heavy, so they've just fallen straight to the bottom of the jar. If I was soaking some of the smaller seeds, they might be floating on the top. You can take the sprouter top off and give them a gentle nudge with your finger, or you can just take them off and give them a nice little swirl. That generally encourages them just to take a little trip to the bottom of the jar. We're just going to allow that to sit there overnight. So just before we go, we've got this bucket in the sink. What are we going to do with this? It's not for human consumption, this water, because if you remember, we're taking away the toxins off the seed. But this is great for your plants, your lawns, anything that you reuse the recycled water for. This is why we've got the bucket in the bottom. All right, off to bed. So overnight, these seeds have doubled in size. So we can just take these. Now, the seeds have released their toxins into the water. The water has been absorbed into the seeds. So we're going to give them a nice big rinse and a drain and rinse. So once again, give them a little swirl to agitate the water, making sure that all of the toxins come away. And then we're draining that water away. Give it a nice drain. Then we're going to do those 2 more rinse and drains. Give it a good swirl. I didn't really put enough water in that time. Let's get enough water. We want about 1/3. Now the reason is because maybe these seeds haven't actually, the toxins are quite good, so there's not a lot of sediment in the water. But sometimes you'll see that the water gets a little cloudy. Don't worry about it, we're washing them. So rinse those seeds away one more time. Everything in 3s. Remembering holding the tumbler and the sprouter top, because that sprouter will, the tumbler will disengage. Ooh. Give it a swirl. And release. Excellent. Now it's time to do the sprouting. We get our sprouter jar and we turn it onto the side. Now what we're going to do is slowly turn it around. Azuki beans are particularly heavy, so these may not stick to the side of the jar, but we want to try and get as much sticking to the side of the jar as possible, and then we pop the sprouter down. And this goes into our sprouting cycle. So the reason why we're rolling it around, we want a good clear airflow and water drainage flow through the grill. So if all your seeds have fallen down to the bottom, just gently pick it up, holding both the top and the bottom. Give it a little turn again, pulling the seeds away from the sides, away from the bottom, and then gently putting it back down. This is going to give you the best result for your sprouts. Okay, so these seeds can sit here throughout the course of the day now. If you've got a hot and humid environment, they may need that extra touch. So if you're off to work during the day, when you come home, first thing you're going to do is just rinse and drain those seeds once again, and then before we go to bed, we rinse and drain again. So that's twice, once in the morning, once at night. And if you're in hot and humid conditions, you may want to do it that 3rd time. If you're home during the day, 4th time, that's fine. Okay, so that is the first day of seed sprouting. So we've done our sprouting for 2 to 3 days. So that means that every night before you've gone to bed, you've done your rinse and your drain 3 times. And every morning when you've woken up, you've done your rinse and your drain for 3 times. And then magically, I have one here that has some sprouts in it. So I'm just going to switch my sprouter top over. Pop this one away. Here we go. Look at that. There we go. So we've woken up in the morning and we look, oh my God, look how gorgeous they are. They're so sprouted. We're on day 4. We've got the leaves out, they've got little tails, they're so cute in there. Okay, the first thing we're gonna do, rinse and drain. All right, let's do that. So back to the rinse and drain. So even though this is the last time, there's no more sprouting involved, we're gonna rinse and drain. So we fill it up to about a third of the way through. Swirl, drain. Okay, now we want to have that a really good drain. Want to get as much water as we can off of it. For storage, we want the sprout to be moist but not wet. All right, so my sprouts are ready. I can now put these sprouts straight into the fridge. So this sprouter can come straight into the refrigerator. Pop them straight into the refrigerator. Or, as I like to do, I can pop them into my storage container. So in my fridge, there's a couple of these that live. So here we go. So excited, so excited. Here we go. We've got the kitchen paper. Just take off one of these. And then we put it over the top of the sprouting container, and you can, however best that you can hold this. So this is great. And we turn it upside down, and what we want to do is try and see how much moisture the sprouts still have in them. Give them a gentle shake, and you can see, I'll pull this off so that you can see. This, I thought that they were pretty clean, pretty dry, but you can see that this towel is quite wet. I wouldn't want this sitting in the bottom of my container with the sprouts sitting on top. So this can now go into your compost bin or your worm bin, your worm farm. I'll put this one to the side. I'll grab a new one. And then pop this straight back over exactly the same way, but this time we're going to turn it upside down into the storage container. Here we go. Give it a little gentle shake. Make sure we get all the goodness out of the jar. And then there we have it. We have some sprouts in our storage container. Making sure that the lid seals tightly. And these can live in the fridge for about 4 days. So after 4 days, you want to really have eaten them. They don't last 4 days in my fridge, let me tell you that right now. So these were azuki beans. I wanted to just show you the difference between some of the seeds. These are radish seeds and azuki beans. And then these are radish sprouts, and these are azuki sprouts. So the difference is you can see that the azuki sprout has a nice big bottom, whereas this radish sprout is quite small. And in front here we have a nice shot here where we've got the azuki bean in its raw form. Then we've got, after one night of soaking, that's about doubled in size. Then we've got another one, little tail, a little bit bigger in the sprout. Out comes the sprout, it's got a full green leaf, and now we've got the green leaves and the roots. So throughout the cycle of the growing, you can have the little taste test in between. So once you've got the sprout, so this is soaking day 1, day 2, I can see that the sprout has come out, and I could start taste testing these at this point. And then coming all the way through, and by the time that I see roots and leaves, I'm definitely going to be eating them. So at the end, there might not be so many sprouts left. All right, here we have 2 separate sprouts. These are lentil sprouts, and these are radish sprouts. These, the radish sprouts, once again, are a little bit smaller than the lentil sprouts, but these went on exactly the same day, had exactly the same soaking time, and I've done them in our sprouters. We've got a brown option as well for those that like color coordination. And you can see the radish sprouts have actually got more green leaves than the lentils. So these ones have grown a little quicker than the lentils. They're both same day. I would eat both of them at this point, but you can leave these ones for a little bit longer. I would be starting to eat these by day 3 if that's how they looked. Sprouting is a great way to add nutrition to your everyday meals for your family. Check us out on our website, Instagram and YouTube. Come join our sprouting tribe.